Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever watched the news and heard about a new law being passed and wondered, how did that even happen? It can seem like this incredibly complex, mysterious process happening far away in Washington, D.C. But what if I told you that it's a journey you can actually understand and even influence? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the United States Congress to uncover exactly how an idea, maybe even one you have, can become the law of the land. We'll break it down, step by step, from a simple thought to a presidential signature. So if you're ready to unlock the secrets of the legislative process, stick around. This is your ultimate guide to how laws are made in America. So, where does a law begin? It doesn't just magically appear on a senator's desk. It starts with an idea. This idea can come from anywhere. It could come from a regular citizen like you or me who sees a problem in their community. It could come from an interest group advocating for a cause, like environmental protection or business development. It might also come from the president, who has a specific agenda, or even from members of Congress themselves, based on their research and what their constituents are telling them. This initial spark is the most fundamental part of the process. It's the why behind every bill. Think about it. Every single law on the book started as someone's idea for how to make things better, safer, or fairer. Once an idea gains some traction, it needs a champion in Congress. This is where a representative or a senator steps in. They become the bill's sponsor. Their job is to take that initial idea and get it written down in formal, legal language. This process is called drafting. It's a critical step because the exact wording of the bill will be debated, scrutinized, and amended later on. Often, the sponsor works with their staff and nonpartisan experts, like lawyers from the House or Senate's Legislative Council offices, to make sure the text is precise and achieves its intended goal. Once the bill is drafted, it's ready for the next big step. Introduction. The sponsor officially introduces the bill by dropping it into a wooden box called the hopper in the House of Representatives, or by being formally recognized on the Senate floor. The bill is then given a number, like H.R. 123 in the House or S. 456 in the Senate, and it's officially entered into the public record. Its journey has begun. Now, this is where things really start to get interesting. A bill doesn't go straight to a vote. First, it's sent to a committee. Think of committees as specialized workshops within Congress. There are committees for everything: agriculture, finance, foreign affairs, science, you name it. The bill is assigned to the committee that has jurisdiction over its subject matter. For example, a bill about farm subsidies would go to the Agriculture Committee. This is arguably the most important stage because this is where the bill gets its first real test. The committee chair, who is a member of the majority party, has immense power here. They decide whether the bill even gets considered. If they don't like it, they can simply ignore it, effectively killing it before it even gets a hearing. This is where many bills die a quiet death. But if the committee chair decides to move forward, the real work begins. The committee will hold hearings to gather information. They'll invite experts, government officials, business leaders, and concerned citizens to testify, to share their knowledge and opinions on the bill. This is a chance for lawmakers to ask questions and learn about the potential impacts of the legislation. Following the hearings, the committee holds a markup session. This is literally what it sounds like. Committee members go through the bill, line by line, debating its content and offering amendments or changes. They might add things, remove things, or rewrite entire sections. It can be a collaborative process, or it can be a highly partisan battle. After the markup, the committee votes on whether to recommend the bill to the full House or Senate. If it passes the committee vote, it's reported out and is one step closer to becoming law. Okay, so our bill has survived the committee gauntlet. What's next? It's time for the whole chamber, either the full House of Representatives or the full Senate, to consider it. But how does it get from the committee report to the floor for a debate? In the House, this is controlled by the powerful Rules Committee. This committee sets the rules for debate, including how much time will be spent on the bill and what kinds of amendments, if any, can be offered on the floor. In the Senate, the process is a bit different. The majority and minority leaders often negotiate to schedule debate on bills. This is where you might hear about the famous filibuster, a tactic where a senator can talk for as long as they want to delay or block a vote on a bill. Overcoming a filibuster requires a supermajority of 60 votes, which is a very high bar. Once a bill reaches the floor, the debate begins. This is the classic image we have of Congress, members giving passionate speeches for or against the legislation. They'll argue its merits, warn of its potential dangers, and try to persuade their colleagues. During this time, more amendments can be offered and voted on. Finally, when the debate is over, it's time for the big vote. In the House, they often use an electronic voting system. You'll see members inserting a card and pressing yay, nay, or present. In the Senate, it's typically a live roll call vote where the clerk calls each senator's name alphabetically and they respond with their vote. For the bill to pass, it needs a simple majority. That's 218 votes in the House and 51 votes in the Senate, assuming all members are voting. So, let's say our bill passes the House of Representatives. Is it a law? Not yet. Because we have a bicameral legislature, meaning two chambers, the exact same bill must pass through both the House and the Senate. So the bill that just passed the House is now sent over to the Senate, where it has to go through the entire process all over again. It is assigned to a committee, it's debated, it's amended, and it's voted on by the full Senate. Often, the Senate will pass a slightly different version of the bill. Maybe they added an amendment or changed some of the language during their own committee process. If the House and Senate pass different versions of the same bill, they can't just send it to the president. They have to resolve those differences first. This is where the conference committee comes in. A conference committee is a temporary committee made up of members from both the House and the Senate, who are chosen to be conferees. Their single task is to negotiate and hammer out a compromise between the two different versions of the bill. They work to create one single, identical piece of legislation that both chambers can agree on. This can be a really intense negotiation, especially if the differences are significant or politically charged. Once they reach an agreement, they issue a conference report, which is the final version of the bill. This report can't be amended. It has to be voted on up or down. Both the House and the Senate must pass this exact same conference report. If they both approve it, the bill is finally, truly passed by Congress. We're on the home stretch. The bill has successfully navigated the maze of committees, floor debates, and conference negotiations in both the House and the Senate. Now, it's prepared in a process called enrolling, printed on parchment paper, and sent to its final destination, the desk of the President of the United States. The President has a few options. First, and most straightforward, they can sign the bill into law. They'll literally sign their name on it, often in a ceremony, and it is officially enacted. Second, the President can veto the bill. This means they reject it and send it back to Congress, usually with a message explaining their objections. A veto is a powerful check on Congress's power. However, Congress can override a presidential veto with a two-thirds vote in both the House and the Senate. This is difficult to achieve and doesn't happen often, but it is possible. There are also two other interesting scenarios. If the president does nothing for 10 days while Congress is in session, the bill automatically becomes law without their signature. This might happen if the president doesn't love the bill, but doesn't want to pick a fight by vetoing it. But if Congress adjourns during that 10-day period and the president doesn't sign it, the bill dies. This is known as a pocket veto, and Congress can't override it. They would have to start the entire legislative process all over again. So from a simple idea to a sponsor, through committees, floor debates, conference, and finally to the president's desk, that is the incredible, challenging, and essential journey of how a bill becomes a law in the United States. It's a long and winding road, and most bills never make it to the end. But it's a process designed, at least in theory, to ensure that laws are carefully considered and debated before they affect the entire nation. It's messy, it's complicated, and it's often frustrating, but it's also the engine of our democracy. Understanding it is the first step to participating in it. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the legislative process. I hope this cleared things up and made the world of Congress feel a little more accessible. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content that breaks down how our government works. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. What part of the process surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.